Good to see you guys, man. Fuck. On lockdown, bro. Haven't been able to see many people at all.
I'm looking this up because I forgot. But you're in Jacksonville, which is Florida, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What's it like out there?
I mean, it's fucking gorgeous, bro. It's fucking nice.
No, I mean, people. Are they moving around? Is there people outside? What's going on?
It's packed out here.
Okay. And the UFC, there's no audience?
Say again?
There's no audience?
No, there's no audience for the fights, but we're at the beach right now.
Okay.
We're staying about 30 minutes off the beach. So we drove to the beach just to hang out, walk around, get away from the hotel because we've been trapped there since Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. So we got our COVID tests. We're all negative. All is good. We got the antibodies test. I have not had COVID as of yet. So, evidently. Right. But those tests ain't worth a shit.
You mean as far as accuracy?
As far as accuracy, we've got one guy, our manager tested 12 times, and today he tested positive. And he was like, motherfucker, I've been here for 3 weeks. I'm not fucking positive anything. So he had to go down. They retested him, and he's good to go, I guess. But there's a bunch of false positives, and it's a fucking mess. But
that's what I heard. The problem was they get a lot of false positives, and they're not accurate.
They're not accurate, dude. But they go to your fucking eyeball, and they make a right and touch your fucking brain
through your nose.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
It's gnarly, but we had to get tested. We got to get our temperature checked every day. I mean, they're doing whatever they can, but
So where's the fight if there's no audience? They could have just like a small building.
Yeah, they could, but you can't put a 30-foot cage in a small building. So they've got the ViStar Memorial Center, I think, is where we're fighting.
Okay.
And there'll be a handful of media people and coaches and corners, and we're supposed to wear fucking masks and all that shit. The way they're doing everything with they bring you in and we have to report at different times. And I got 2 guys on the card. So they're making you move all your shit out before you walk. Then when you guys walk, you get out of the fight, you go to see the doc, and then you bust the fuck out of there immediately. So I've got to fucking grab my shit and come back and go meet Walt. And we've only got 2 fights in between us, which is about an hour. So it should be plenty of time to get him loose and get his mind right and get ready to go. So the main event's easy because it's just we're the last fight, so there's no big pressure or fucking waiting in line or nothing like that. So, but Eryk's on the main card, but he's a couple fights in.
Yeah. Well, that's the first question I wanted to ask you. So obviously I'm always rooting for you, and the whole organization's rooting for your guys, but particularly now because of Walt, pretty incredible, I think, to have gone through what he went through, which is the worst that niggas can think of, is got their fight again. So how's Walt doing?
Walt's doing good, man. He's in a good headspace. The thing I hate the most is the fact that we're going to get asked that question about 1 million times.
Oh. I even thought about that when talking to you, but I figured I'd ask you instead of saying to him. But.
Right. Yeah, we talked about it, just making sure, hey, they're going to ask that question over and over and over and over and over again and all that stuff. And you're going to have to relive that. But he's almost robotic in his responses to that right now. But ESPN came out, did a big piece at the gym. Tom Rinaldi came in and did a thing with him. And it was, it was cool. Some gut wrenching stuff. But that was done months ago. Okay. So the thing's going to air on Friday. We're just going to not watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hang out, go to dinner with the chaps. We got a whole squad now. I got 8 guys down here now. So it's like the whole family's here. It's just us.
You guys drive?
Yeah, dude. We rented a party van. We rented the big 15-passenger van, bro.
Nice.
That's what I'm rocking right
now. Nice.
Big 15-passenger van.
Right.
We just drove down. It was only like a 6-hour shot.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be good. Everybody wanted to just drive. We had like a 3-hour layover in Charlotte with the tickets the UFC bought us. They were flying us on American Airlines, which is
the worst.
Yeah. So there's no guarantee we're going to get here at all.
Right.
So we're like, man, we're just going to rent a van and cruise on up. So they're paying us mileage and it'll work out.
Good. How's Eryk doing?
Eryk's doing fantastic, man. I mean, my man hasn't skipped a beat. We're ready to go. He's got a tough fight on his hands. Christophe Jacko was at one point top 10 in the middleweight division. Then he went on 3 losses straight and lost to David Branch, who at one time was really high ranked in the middleweight division. Then he lost to Uriah Hall and God dang it, Brad Tavares. He lost to Brad Tavares. So he dropped those 3 fights straight. Then he won 2 straight. So he's on a bit of a win streak. He's a talented guy, but at one point he was ranked high. So we got a tough fight on our hands for him. And then, with Walt, Alistair Overeem, I was going back and looking at tape on this guy, the last few fights that he's fought, and you think everybody's like, oh, you'll knock him out. Alistair Overeem can still fight, bro. Like he's still good. And he's very savvy and knows what he's doing. He knows how to drag fights out. Like he's changed his game because of his age at this point. He's extremely savvy, very tricky. So we got a tough fight on our hands for us there too. And I feel like, I feel like the odds are going to be in our favor going out. But at the same time, this is not just a walkover. This is a tough scrap. Yeah. We got to be careful.
Sure. Well, we're going to put this up. If you're all good with it, we're going to put this up probably tomorrow so we can get it up for the fight. But what are your predictions? Obviously, your guys are going to win, but for the rest of the card.
When these things happen, I don't even really know who else is on the card, dude. I only know about who's on our card. We were here for the fights last night, and I'll give you a hot take. Like everybody's riding Coach Montoya because of the way that Anthony Smith took a fight, took the beating, and he got busted up pretty bad. It was a tough scrap, and everybody's on Montoya's head about whatever. I talked to James Krause and Mark Montoya this morning, and I know Mark Montoya very well, and I know James Krause very well. I know Anthony Smith very well also. And there's no way in hell that Anthony Smith wanted out of that fight. And when he said his teeth were getting knocked out, he has veneers, and that happens to him all the time in practice. So there's a lot, like, it's not uncommon for him to get his teeth knocked out. He's got veneers. So they literally come out all the time in practice. So it's something they deal with on a regular basis. So when he said that, everybody's running with that, like he wanted out, like he didn't want out. And, was it the right decision? In retrospect, I mean, who knows? But everybody's standing on Montoya's head like he doesn't know what he's doing. And there's not a better coach in the game. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. And they know their fighter. James Krause knows the guy, knows the fighter. I feel like he's getting a bad rap right now because he didn't stop the fight. You're there to protect the fighter. And in retrospect, maybe. But something I want everybody to take into consideration is that when you are in the fray at that moment as a coach, as a fighter, you are 100%. Your entire brain is focused. You are solution driven.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're focused on winning the fight. That's the only thing that you're focused on. The thought of quitting doesn't really even creep into your head. And I've been on receiving end of some pretty bad beatings on national television myself. And people ask me, did you think about stopping the fight? I'm like, no, I did not. Right. At no point in time at all did I consider quitting. I don't want to, what I would do is I would have a conversation with my guy. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, listen, man, I'm not going to sit here and watch you get your ass whooped like this. I'm not going to, and I would kind of force him into like an ultimatum. Like he's got to give me something back, tell me something back. And I would say it on camera. I'd say it on film so that it's my decision. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to stop it if you don't, so it looks like it's 100% my call, which it would be. Mm-hmm. Nothing put on the guy at all. But again, like at that moment in the fray, you are 100% solution oriented. You're not thinking about giving up or quitting. You're thinking about how to solve the problem. If you've got my back and you're choking me and I'm going to go unconscious, I didn't go unconscious because I was like, I'm not going to tap. Like, I went unconscious because until the last very moment in time, I'm solution oriented. I'm trying to figure out a way out. So I think people should take that thing into consideration. And when you're not in the corner, and you're not there with the guys and you don't know the person, I think you should probably shut your face.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not the fighters and cornermen that are giving them a hard time. Is it the actual trainers? It's just talking about fans, right?
Right. It's the fans and it's the media and it's people that are in our fraternity that are saying some of that stuff as well. And those people are converted to media. So they got to give the hot takes and stuff. And, you know, I just think he's getting a bad rap. There's not a better coach in the game. Mark Montoya is a fantastic coach, and he loves his fighters, and everybody loves Anthony Smith. And there's a lot of guys out there, you know, that I would love to see take that kind of ass whooping. Anthony Smith is not one of those guys, dude. He's like he's a good person.
Yeah.
But Glover Teixeira just showed what he's made of, and he just keeps coming forward and he can take it. And I think, and I've seen that before as well. You know, Eryk has been there where you think that this next shot's going to be the one. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. Because he was hitting him with everything in the first few rounds. You know, he was catching him, he was hitting him, and it's like, this is going to be it. And this is going to be it. I mean, you can look at Conor and Floyd. You know, Conor kind of sold out to it early because it's like, this is going to be the one. All right, this is going to be the one. You know,
it looked like it.
Yeah, you're hitting him with everything and you're having success, and it's like pedal to the metal. And I think that he didn't really conserve himself because he thought that, you know, the next one's going to be the one. So, you know, I have nothing but empathy for them in their corner and Coach Montoya and Anthony Smith. And I think that I just hate to see people standing on his head, you know, in a situation like that where it's easy to just jump all over them. But man, you should let's take all the factors into consideration and understand that most of you have never even been in that kind of a position where you got to make that decision in the first place. Like, so it's not that easy.
Yeah,
it's not so black and white and cut and dry as a lot of people are saying it. So I just think we should hesitate to criticize people, you know, in that regard. But that's just me. I hate to see a coach like Mark Montoya and guys like James Krause get heat like that when I think it's just not valid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's good you said that, and we can actually even make this this part a separate clip as well and put it out there just to get it out there. So I'm going to burn through some questions here.
Do it.
I already asked you my main things is how Walt and Eryk are doing. That sounds great. From Steve Bazia from South Africa. You know Steve?
Yeah.
How'd you train in this environment?
Well, Coach, as you can imagine, we never really stopped training. It was not really an option for us. So what we did was I had to talk with the guys, not the general public, but the guys on comp team and the guys that we needed specifically for this fight to get Walt ready, to get Eryk ready. We brought some people in from Vegas, some friends of ours as well, and we just essentially quarantined together. You're not going out. You're not going anywhere. We're staying in the gym. You can go home. You can come to work, home and work, and that's it. We would come over and socialize and hang out with each other. But we pretty much quarantined with each other, the entire squad, for the last 2 months. So I wasn't really concerned about it. So we didn't really skip a beat. What was difficult was the whole up and down of it's on, it's not on, it's on. You know, we were going to fight in April, and Dana White is saying this, and the UFC is saying that, and then the state of California gets involved, and we're not going to do it on the Indian. You know, we were going to do this on an Indian reservation at Taichi Palace, which puts on fights in smaller fights on a regular basis. They're ready to do it and equipped for it. And it's on an Indian reservation out in California. Everybody knows the story. You know, ABC, Disney came down on Dana and said, we're not going to do that. But, you know, the up and down was what was difficult, trying to manage the guys. But we just you know, we sat down and everybody talked about it. Like, all we can control is what we control. So keep your ass in the gym. We're going to keep training. You know, I don't care how many people we got. One lady, the cops came by on a regular basis, man. I mean, they were
really,
yeah, you know, you guys are running secret training sessions. And I was like, yeah, you know, we are. and you know, I'm friends with a lot of the police department out here in Homewood, so we would have conversations. And then, you know, we got the new gym opened up, and we never stopped training.
Yeah,
that wasn't really an option for us. When you're talking about, and you know, I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about it or says about it or what their opinions are on the subject matter at all, or I'm not going to get into a discussion about it. But when you're talking about having $500,000 on the line, it's really not an option. So
right. And just for those who don't know, because we're going to try and get this out Friday for everybody, and then you've got the big fight this weekend.
Right.
This is going to be the first time ever, I think, that they've fought without an audience on UFC ever.
Yeah, well, Saturday was the first time. I think they did it in Brazil as well as this whole thing happened. So they've done this a few times, but it's weird, man. I mean, everybody's talking about, you know, the weird things about it. I don't think it necessarily sways one person or the other, but it is interesting that you can hear the commentators, you can hear the commentary, you can hear the coaches. Like, we've never been more on blast than we are now, so you better be on top of your game, dude.
Yeah.
Or they gonna blow you up on social media and everywhere else, make you look like, yeah. So you know, I think the coaches are under a bit more scrutiny, but it's not that big a deal, man. It's no different than if it was in the gym. Right. We're there doing the thing, and once the punches start flying, you know, you're into the game. So it is what it is. But it is strange from my perspective, sitting on the outside, not having to scream or yell over a crowd or worry about whether or not they can hear what I'm saying, you know. And it is a bit more of a concern. You know, we talk a lot in code anyway. The guys, only Eryk and Walt and people that are on our team really know what I'm saying when I'm saying certain things. But it's something you have to be a lot more aware of now, because the other fighter in the other corner can really hear what you're saying. I can't really hear too much, and I don't really concentrate on what the other corner is saying very much at all. I'm concentrating on my guy, you know, but if I can hear what they're saying, and, you know, I'm not real sure how it's going to affect everything because I haven't been out there and done it yet. But, like, one of the things you have to be aware of, so just tactics and strategy, you want to have one guy that's like a hype man talking to the judges, you know, telling them what they saw, the whole WAP, and then what are we cornering against? Are we cornering against a Brazilian corner? Are they both American corners? You know, we're cornering against both American corners for Eryk's fight and for Walt's as well. So that's not going to be a factor. So we're going to have to be talking to the judges. I need a hype man kind of telling them what they saw. I'll be the tactics strategy guy. You know what I mean? So it kind of changes the game plan in the corner just a little bit if you're taking those things into consideration. But other than that, man, you just go out there and fight. You know, there's only so much that we can control, but I think that's one of the things that we can kind of help out with, is that, you know, one of the guys in the corner needs to be talking to the judges and telling them what they saw so they don't get things confused, you know.
You always have somebody appointed for that?
No, not usually. Well, a lot of times when I'm talking to the judges.
Okay.
And you don't, even when the crowd is there, you don't really have a problem hearing me.
Mm-hmm. No, I think everybody's going to hear you this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm animated in the corner for sure. I'm loud, but even when the crowd's there, you really don't have a problem hearing me. So a lot of times the things that I'm saying, I'm talking to the judges. But now it's been one of the things I have to think about. I didn't really think about it that much. I thought about it addressing judges, but now your job is to just hype him up. You know what I mean? This is what I want you saying. And then everybody else is just kind of spitting out, regurgitating what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But so no, it's not something that we always do. This has been the first time that I've ever actually really taken it into consideration. Have one guy designated to talk to the judges and kind of tell them what they saw.
It's a good idea. All right. From this is a good question. I was thinking of asking you this question anyway. His point was, how do you maintain your great culture? But one thing I noticed, I mean, I love coming out to your place, and I really like your culture and your group of guys. I've talked about this before, different places I go. I just think you have a really cool environment.
Yeah.
But what's unique in many ways about that, and in fact, I think I told you this before, it reminded me very much of what it was like at Carl's when he ran his team. But your guys are in there always active and helping as well, and working with everybody, with the rest of your community. And you have, for people that don't know, a very successful school that has one of our largest schools in our organization that has hundreds of members, that most of which don't ever fight. And so you have the balance. I think right now you obviously have more guys fighting UFC than any of the gyms in the States, but you also have a big successful school. And how do you maintain that culture between the two?
Well, I think you talked about it. I mean, the fighters stay involved with everybody. A lot of times those people came up, Eryk coached at the gym, taught kids class, and was a very integral part in the growth of the gym. He did sales, he did free private lessons. Even when he was fighting in the UFC initially, like, he was still teaching kids classes, and and he still to this day comes in, coaches bully-proof workshops. Walt comes in and helps out with the bully-proof workshops and the kids, and they come to all the gym socials. They're very involved with the gym. It's their family. And I'm not sure if it's something that, like, we really had to focus a whole lot of effort or energy on. It just, I don't care how good a person is skill-wise. I don't give a crap, how good you are, what kind of an athlete you are. There's been a lot of guys that have tried to come into the gym, really, really, really good athletes. And Eryk and Walt initially as well. It was just, I didn't, if you don't fit into our culture, I don't really want you here.
Yeah.
I only want martial artists. I only want martial artists. I don't want fighters. I don't want any fighters ever. I only want martial artists. I will only accept martial artists. I'm only going to spend time with guys that are going to spend time buying into the system and doing what we do. And because I think that's the standard that we have, and that's the standard that we've always had, and the rest of the guys make sure that it stays that way. I think it just kind of works out like that. And I really mean it. I don't really care how talented men. I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of guys in the area, played football for Alabama as well, not just Eryk, and a lot of really good athletes that come out of Alabama that wanted to come to our gym that I don't think it's going to be a fit for you, and ran them off because I really don't care. I don't care if we get any other guys in the UFC or not. And I think that when I did flip that mindset, I think it made the team better. I think it made the family better. I think it made the squad better. I think that everything around us got better, and the people that were attracted to come to our gym were better people. So it kind of sorted through the nonsense initially, right out of the gate. Like, if you're going to be this kind of a person, you're not going to be welcome here. If you are a good person and you buy into the system and the family, and you want to be a part of the gym and the squad and the team, when you talk about your big gyms, I mean, all these guys, a lot of them live somewhere else. They don't really live in the town that they train in. They live somewhere else. And they only come into town when they have pen to paper, they have a contract. That's the only time they're even there. So how could they even really buy into that system? They're not there to help each other out. Like, when Eryk is done fighting this weekend, he'll be back in the gym to help everybody else get ready when it's their time. And amateurs, bro, you don't get that from a lot of other places. And I know, because I've been to all those other places.
Yeah.
And I've trained there and I've worked with those guys. Yeah. I'm not speaking from a position of ignorance. Like, that's how most of those places are. The people that train there aren't really there. And even if they have a good unit and teamwork and camaraderie and great coaches and whatnot, like, what we have is a real family. It's a very unique fight team. And that's what everybody in the UFC says about us as well, is like, you guys are extremely unique in the way that you interact with each other and hang out with each other, and like the way that your squad works. And I think that's something that's very much SBG. I don't, you know, we're just different, you know?
No, that could have been everything you just said. I can echo. I can hear Carl saying similar things to me back in but it is very special. And briefly, before I move on to the other questions for everybody that's watching, can you distinguish between what you said earlier, a martial artist and a fighter?
Well, a martial artist trains when they don't have a fight coming up. They train if they feel good. If they don't feel good, they put the gi on. You know, they box, they kickbox, they do whatever they're told to do. You know, Eryk Anders is a world champion in IBJJF Jiu-Jitsu. You know, Walt fusses at me all the time about giving him more stripes on his blue belt. You know, because yeah, man, I got another stripe, coach. I submitted this first day, I get another stripe. Nice. You know, and that's not how it works, obviously. But the fact that it's important to them. It's important to me. Everybody puts the gi on. Yeah. They train when they don't have a fight. When they do have a fight, if they feel good, if they don't good, there's no such thing as camp. This is just the life that we live. And then obviously when you get closer to the fight, you tighten a few things up. You change the way that you eat a little, especially if you're dealing with heavyweights, you know, or bigger guys like Eryk and Walt. Like, you got to get on their head early about the things that they're eating. But there's no shortage of gym time. And even when this whole thing went down, it was like, how are we going to train? It wasn't, are we going to train? Are we going to be able to train? It was like, how are we going to train?
Right.
Like, I got you, dude. We're just going to train. You know what I mean? And that's what we did. And it's been cool. It's been good. And that's what I mean about the difference between a fighter and a martial artist. A fighter only trains when they have a fight. They don't really embrace the martial arts and the lifestyle and the you know, the way that you're supposed to live, the lifestyle that comes along with not only being a professional athlete, but being a professional athlete of combat arts, a martial artist, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we live, we breathe. Like, this is what you do. This is your family. This is your squad. This is how you know, there's no such thing as, you know, time off. You get right back in the gym. And when we don't have a fight coming up, that's when you start working on new stuff, and we're constantly evolving and developing. And in every single solitary aspect of martial arts, like, we have a good jiu-jitsu program. I love the fact that we do jiu-jitsu. We have, you know, a really good program with really good coaches, and the guys all work and participate in that. And if they want to go compete in that, they do. And we compete at a high level. If they want to do Muay Thai, we have high-level Muay Thai program and coaches. And if they want to go compete in that, they can. Boxing, the same thing. Wrestling, the same thing. So I think that's unique to have everything under one roof, that we really, truly do focus on every aspect of it. Like, I love sport jiu-jitsu, even though it's not really applicable to self-defense or MMA, worm guard and all the lapel guard and all that stuff. I think it's cool as hell. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily going to coach that or teach that or put it through that filter for our people, for what we're doing. But I love to learn that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You're not going to catch me teaching that in class. You know what I'm saying? But I love to learn about it and watch it. You know, I'm from the old school, just like you, coach, but I train with the new school, you know? And I think that's important so that you can stay current and you can be able to address those things. And I think that's part of being a martial artist is delving deep into every single solitary aspect of it. I think we've been talking about this in SBG for a while, that the width of the game is there. Boxing, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing. The depth of all those games is never ending. And I want to delve into all of them and figure out everything I can to be the best coach that I can be. And I think that the athletes kind of take that as well. They want to be the best at everything. So when we don't have fights coming up, we're looking to grow. And you know, that's the difference between a martial artist and a fighter. A fighter is just, they only fight. They only care about themselves. Yeah. They only train when they have a fight coming up. If they have a bad time, they don't show up at all. If they're going through issues, they don't show up at all. A martial artist is going to train regardless of what's going on in their life.
Right. When Walt and Eryk retire, they're still going to be coming in and probably doing jiu-jitsu and training and teaching. And
they've already said that. When Walt retires, he wants to win a jiu-jitsu world championship.
That's awesome.
He wants to win a gold medal in a gi.
Yeah.
And then he wants to win some stuff in no gi as well. Like, there's a whole list of goals that they have that they speak that into existence quite a bit, you know.
That's awesome. And that's exactly what SPG is supposed to be all about. So, you know.
I think so.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right, Kavanaugh had a question for you.
Okay.
That if you have a morning ritual, he wants to know what it is.
Me personally, no. I get up early and I stay up late. I get up, and as soon as I grind my coffee at night and have it prepped so that I know in my head when I get up, you know, the first thing you do, get up, put your feet on the floor. And I tell myself, you know, I live my life by these words right here. Don't be a pussy. And that's what I do. I get up in the morning and I hurt and I ache and I get up and I put my feet on the floor and I tell myself those words repeatedly all day long, you know, like all day. Don't be that. Sometimes you win the day and sometimes you lose the day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you should be able to look yourself in the mirror and, you know, hey, man, today I did what I could do. Today I did X, Y, and Z. Today I got up and I accomplished something. Or today I slacked off and I need to be able to do better tomorrow. So the morning ritual is just a fight to get up. I mean, you know, get up. As soon as I hit the button on the coffee maker, though, it's game on.
Yeah. I wondered when John asked that if he meant maybe the morning of the fight. I wasn't sure, and I didn't have time to ask him.
I don't either. Morning ritual. So morning ritual the day of the fight, depending, you know, we'll work out. We got to work out here in about 2 hours. We'll catch a workout closer to fight time, and then morning ritual the day of. We get up. We usually have a family dinner, you know, Friday night. In the morning of, we get up and we do a shakeout, a morning shakeout, which is nothing more than just a 30-minute, you know, loosen up, game plan, tactic, strategy, you know, hit the mitts, boost their confidence, and get them woke up. Just whenever time they want to wake up. It's not a pressure issue. We get up in the morning, you know, they go through their regular routines. We go down, we eat some breakfast, then we get a shakeout. Once we get the shakeout, it's about prepping for game time. We get the last minute things taken care of, and then just kind of chill and go into slow motion until it's game time. Managing 2 fights in one night is something that John's done a whole hell of a lot more than I have in this big a stage. And under these circumstances, it's really weird because now, well, you know, I've got to prep for how we're going to do all this because I'm not even allowed to be over there until an hour before. And it's like a funnel. When you get there, you go to USADA if you have to go to USADA, and then you wrap your hands immediately, and then you go into your workout room and you get your workout. And then when that person's done, you exit. All the coaches and corners have to take their stuff out, exit. A crew comes in, cleans the whole place, disinfects everything, and then you come in and you warm your guy up. And, you know, so we're looking at only having an hour to get them warmed up, and it'll be pretty close to that. So if there's any glitches in the schedule at all, it's going to be difficult. So that kind of changes things. But as far as morning routines go, for fight day, every person is different. Mm-hmm. I don't particularly have a morning ritual that I necessarily go through with the fighters. It's kind of depends on the fighter. You know, some guys sleep a little later. Some guys, you know, Eryk's one of those guys that gets up really early. We'll get a breakfast and hang out, and then usually Walt gets up a little bit later than him, and that takes a little bit of time, you know. So everybody's just a little bit different, but we'll get up, we'll have a breakfast in the morning, we'll do a shakeout that day, and then we'll put it in chill mode until it's time to go to work.
Yeah. So last question, then I'll let you go because I appreciate you doing this. One of my favorite questions I ask people is a question that Peter Thiel would ask when he hires people because he's trying to find something interesting to have to say. And
what kind of a tree would I be?
Yeah, no. Tell me something that you believe to be true that you think most people would disagree with you about.
Oh, man, don't get me started on that one. Not at this particular moment in time, player. You don't want to hear what I got to say about that, dog. You don't even want to hear it.
Adam and I talked about this for about an hour yesterday, and he had some good answers too, but they probably won't make it to YouTube.
Right, exactly. Let's not draw lightning let's not throw the lightning rod up there and tempt fate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What I would say is this about fighting. I think that what would I say that some people would argue with? One, I think that if you're left-handed, be left-handed. If you're right-handed, be right-handed. And there's one stance for mixed martial arts, period. You can change your stance for boxing or kickboxing, whatever, but there's one stance that's more efficient, and that's what we're searching. That's what I'm searching for anyway in developing for my guys. I want to make them more efficient in fighting, and I think there's one stance for everything. And I think that you can switch. There's times to switch. Again, on a strike, for a strike. But I think switching stances is stupid, and yeah, that's about all I'll say on that. And for Brad, listen, man, short shorts are coming back around. They're not. It's not okay, dog. The Fab Five came out and put baggy shorts on, and John Stockton was a fossil after that player. Like, you can't be rolling around in short shorts. I understand, the quadzilla, you want to put the legs on display, but your shorts, I believe, should be baggy and should sag to right about knee level is the proper way the shorts should look. Magnum PI was a handsome devil, but those kind of shorts, y'all can keep those, man. We're not ever going to adopt that style.
I'm glad we got that question answered.
We had to.
Listen, Chris, I appreciate you taking the time. We're going to put this up Friday. I don't always watch all the UFCs, but you can bet I'll be watching and give my best to the guys. I'm going to be sitting here home rooting for everybody. And
yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's a big night for us. It's the first time that I've ever had two. Most gyms don't have one guy fighting.
You and you're the main event.
A main event. This is our third main event, and this is Walt's first main event. Eryk's on the main card as well. So that's a big accomplishment. We're not on the undercard. We're on the main card.
Yep.
And one guy's the main event, and that's SBG, dude. Two guys one night, and it's something that it's a first for me. So it's something I'm kind of proud of. I've always wanted to have them on the same fight card because I feel like they feed off of each other, their energy, the vibe, and the fact that we can all be here as a family together. I mean, I got eight of my people are here, man. We got everybody here. We're all taking a vacation, having fun, training. The gym's not open right now, so I got the whole squad here with me. So it's just like back in Alabama, dude. We're having a blast,
You're going to have a blast, and you should be proud because that's a huge accomplishment. So
yeah,
give the guys my best, and I'll be watching, and I'll speak to you after the fight.
Okay, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Take care. Thank you.
It's good seeing you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Be easy.